So I'm Sara Rykov. I'm the CTO and one of the co-founders at Metcove. And our company makes Spoke, which is a platform that enables accessible communication. So imagine that you're at an airport, it's late, and your airline is announcing that your flight is delayed again, and that you're being shuffled to another gate. That you can barely make out what they're saying. This is really frustrating. Now imagine that you are deaf or hard of hearing, or that you don't speak the local language. You're essentially cut off from the information that you need. So audio announcements in public spaces contain really important information, but they're often quite difficult to hear. For the 5% of the population that is deaf or hard of hearing, this results in increased anxiety, reduced autonomy, and quite frankly, is unequal access to information. For folks that don't speak a local language, the language barrier makes audio announcements pretty ineffective. And for the rest of us, I think we've all experienced that it can be quite difficult to hear what's being said overhead in a busy, noisy environment. So we've created Spoke. Spoke is a service that captures live audio announcements, and we deliver them as text in a user's language. So we do that. We have an IoT device that we have created that connects directly to the PA system at an airport. This allows us to capture really good quality audio, regardless of the ambient noise in the facility. Once we have that audio, we upload it to our cloud backend, and in the cloud, we're using AI to transcribe the announcement, to analyze it and pull out some metadata about the announcement, and to translate it. We then deliver those announcements as text. We do that on both our own mobile app and on the large display screens at venues. And we can do that in a user's language, including several sign languages. So where does this problem exist? It doesn't just exist in airports. It exists across a wide variety of public spaces, including healthcare facilities such as emergency rooms, and in other mass transit contexts, so train stations, but not just the station. It exists on board, on planes, on trains, on ferries, on cruise ships. It exists in stadiums and arenas, and in retail and event spaces. So we see Spoke eventually being in all of these different types of venues, but we plan to focus initially on airports, followed closely by healthcare centers. So I'd like to talk a little bit about our business model. So in our business model, we intend to draw revenue from 3 different sources. So first, there would be venue licensing fees. Essentially, airports and other venues will pay an annual licensing fee that would allow them to license the audio capture and announcement processing software. And the fee would vary depending on the size of the venue, the number of expected users, and the number of expected announcements. So we see large airports paying approximately $50,000 annually, and smaller venues like healthcare facilities paying, say, $10,000 annually. Next, we would draw revenue from user subscriptions. So we're going to have a freemium model, meaning that all users will be able to access the basic functionality. They'll be able to search and browse for announcements, and they'll be able to see announcements in their language. But for a subscription fee of $5 a month, we would provide a suite of freemium features. So we believe that with just a small percentage of air travel users, we would be able to draw a substantial amount of revenue from this. Just to give you an idea, at a large airport, there are between 20 and 100 million annual passengers. So we think that if we can draw just, say, 10,000 users per month that are willing to pay for our freemium features, this represents a substantial amount of additional revenue per airport. In addition to venue licensing and user subscriptions, We will also offer advertising opportunities to retailers both within and nearby our facilities. So I want to talk a little bit about airports and why our initial focus on airports. We think that at airports, we can help them solve both their accessibility and their language barriers. There is, in recent years, quite an appetite to resolve accessibility issues at large public facilities like airports. This is driven, I think, through both public awareness of accessibility issues, but also there is a recent legal mandate to solve these problems. And in Canada, there is legislation regarding both accessibility and official language requirements. And for Canadian airports that don't comply, they face administrative penalties that can be quite stiff. They can be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. So we are initially going to target airports that are larger than 1 million annual passengers. So just to give you an idea, in Canada, there are 15 airports that meet this requirement. In the United States, there are approximately 100 airports of this size. And globally, there are about 400 major airports. So it's quite a big space. So I want to talk about what some of the alternatives to Spoke are. I'll just talk quickly about hearing loops. So hearing loops is something that several airports are installing in recent years. This is essentially a physical cable that goes around a defined area, such as a gate holding area, and it allows users of certain hearing aids to experience better sound quality. In addition to hearing loops, we're all familiar with the electronic communications from our airlines. And you may have noticed that at some airports, there are automated announcement systems. Those are where announcements are generated using airport operation data. And so some of those automated announcement systems are starting to bring out mobile applications. Spoke is different because we're not data-driven. We are capturing live audio announcements, and we're able to deliver in the user's language, including sign language. So that's a really nice feature for accessibility. We're also see ourselves as providing a consistent user experience across all airports and in flight. So for a user, they get to have a nice experience across their journey. So I want to talk a little bit about where we've been, so I can tell you where we're going. We have in 2024, we completed most of the work on our backend technology and on our mobile app. In the first quarter of 2025, we finished kind of the initial work on our audio capture device. And we were really excited to be invited by Atlas IED. They are one of the largest vendors of PA systems in North America, to their facility in Kentucky, where we were able to test our audio capture device with their system. That was awesome. We had a bunch of good feedback, but we also learned a lot, and we were able to come back and improve both the audio capture and the announcement processing. In addition, in Q1 of this year, we had a collaboration with CETA on a proposal for the Montreal Metropolitan Airport. That was for us, for when the airport opens in 2026, for us to capture the announcements and to show them on CETA's large display screens. So just a little bit of context, CETA is like one of the largest integrators for IT at airports around the world. And so we're thrilled to have been able to collaborate with them on this project. Due to our success on that proposal, they invited us to showcase our joint solution with them at a trade show in Europe in April, which we attended, and also to install our technology at their sales office in New York City. We got actually from this experience, we got some great learning from having the technology kind of in a facility on a regular basis, and we've been able to make some adjustments from that. So fast forward to Q3 of 2025, we're we're actually just kicking off pilots at Toronto Pearson Airport and at the Ottawa Airport. And we plan to take our success from those pilots and kick off a really aggressive marketing campaign for all Canadian airports. With the goal of being at 10 airports by the end of Q1 2026. We think if we can do a good job at Pearson and at Ottawa, we're already well known in the Canadian airport space. We think that we will be able to sign 10 airports. We'd also like to be at 1 healthcare facility. In addition, we have partial sign language support right now, and we intend to roll out the rest of the solution in Q1 of 2026. So with that look in the rearview mirror, let's look to where we're going. As I said, we intend to be at 10 major airports. I think the major challenge for us there is going to be operational support. We're currently a very small team, and so we would need to bring on some additional resources to be able to support those facilities. Further out in 2026, we would like to not only add additional venues, but we would like to complete the work on our premium features for the app and some of the advertising capabilities of the app. So doing that would enable us basically to test the waters on the subscriptions, and we would have an initial goal for 2026 of selling approximately 1,000 subscriptions per airport per month. And then looking ahead to 2027, we would really expand to a lot more airports, to more healthcare facilities, and hopefully into other mass transit contexts. And we'd really be looking to hit that our goal of actually selling 10,000 subscriptions per airport per month, which would really bring in a lot of additional subscription revenue. So we think that we have the right timing, the right tech, and the right team. We're really poised to take advantage of the emergence of the necessary technology that's really just come out in the last couple of years. We're really poised to take advantage of the appetite to solve accessibility issues. And we have a great team. We've got 2 professional software developers and 1 serial entrepreneur. So we think we have the right mix of technical expertise and business acumen. And together, we think we can really help to make audio announcements accessible for everyone in all public spaces.
Woohoo! I'm telling you, thank you, Sara. That was great. You're just under 13 minutes, so
Okay.
so that's pretty good. That was awesome. Thank you so much. It was really exciting to hear. And Nolan, why don't you kick us off?
I might be long. Can I go last?
Oh, okay, yeah, sure. I love it.
And we have more time. Like we're not as rushed because we don't have the second presenter.
Exactly.
So we can take 20 minutes for feedback, like unless Sara has a call at 11:30 or something.
No.
Okay.
Well, so
all right.
Can I just
so let's start with
question.
Victoria. Yeah, go ahead.
It's a stop at the ask page. There's no team page. Did I miss anything here?
Yeah, I kind of ran out of time a little bit. So I know that I need to put a team page in. I didn't have a very good team page put together, and so I just sort of glossed over it. Yeah,
that's great.
Okay. So yeah, well, so overall, I kind of get what you are doing and what's a value prop. And certainly there's some signs from what you talk, not necessarily from the slides, that there are some goals that can show here, the traction, whatever. But overall, I would say the organization of the content here need a lot of reshuffle and make the message concise and make the selling point pop up. Right now, it's not that clear. So I have to, as an audience, I have to try to process from my end, try to say, oh, you just said this is gold, this should be here. You know what I mean? But not necessarily on this on the slides. So that's the kind of overall feeling I have here. So you got
Sorry, so it's that you didn't see the information on the slide, or that you think the flow of the material is not
both need
Okay.
correct. Yeah, both need an improvement on that part.
Okay.
Some of the well, not necessarily right, but some of the thinking, the thoughts I have would be like, you probably should just focus on the accessibility signing language for the airport. Just that. Just dig into that, showing the real value here. Put the numbers there. And the penalty, what's the penalty? You talk about that. The number should be here. And then that can present a very strong use case. So then the audience, investor, whoever, we're not decision makers for the airport, but you need to present it in a way that as if I'm the decision maker, I think it is a no-brainer to buy this, right? So then also related to that, then based on the content you presented here, I'm not convinced that a subscription makes sense, because then, okay, now I can wear my hat as a consumer. I'm the traveler. I don't think I'm gonna subscribe it. So there's no strong evidence here to show that what's a value prop for the subscriber. Like I travel to Toronto I got this. So what? Then next time I'm going to another airport. I don't see the value there. So again, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have it, because I didn't do my research into that. But you need to present strong evidence and value prop to support your business model here.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
By far, I don't see that. I can get the value prop for this lights for the airport if you talk about it, but if you present it in a improved way, that's okay. And then the healthcare whatever stuff, you can probably just like a cherry on top in the future, like present a future TM that you can say that, but not necessarily you need to do it here. That's sort of my sort of the major comments I have. Then the problem that we mentioned, reshuffle, that like typically what we've seen very common, that the problem statement is fragmented or is not concise enough. You spend too much time explaining. So yeah, you need to be able to just, the one way to solve that is just stick to one point, so it's easier to get it through. You don't need to like lay out all the problem you want to solve. No, you will not be able to do that for your initial product. Just try to catch the most valuable part, and this is your MVP, and you show that you're doing good job in terms of execution, and then you're showing that you are getting extraction. So that, suppose that could help you to sort of shed off some content, make the problem concise, and the flow will be better.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Victoria. Melanie.
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback onto that, what Victoria was saying, because it kind of speaks to the first session, some of the content that I was going over. So for me, what I saw this kind of, there was kind of 4 key things that I saw coming up from that narrative flow perspective. So really like, let's like narrow in on, let's kind of focus in on the narrative flow piece of it, because the first thing I saw, which Victoria was getting at, is something I call the B2C mask, which is when you're too focused on the end user problem instead of people who are actually going to be paying for it. I know you're saying that there is a subscription for that, for, you know, the everyday person. I travel a lot, so maybe I would be one of those people. But to Victoria's point, there wasn't that compelling kind of like evidence that I would buy that. But when you eventually got to that element around the legal mandate and the financial penalties, that piece, I'd written down, is this a problem for your paying customer? And you didn't answer that until quite a bit later. So let's pull up that, like, who is the problem statement needs to be focused on who's the actual paying customer. Yes, you can speak to accessibility as a whole, but being a problem for the end user, that's the impact group, kind of like we're the people who are going to feel the impact of this technology. But as the investor looking at this, I need to understand, why is it a problem for people paying the check at the end of the day? So that's what I want to see. Like if we were to rework your entire problem section to dovetail into like, we're the ones who are building a solution for this, and this is an actual real problem for reasons that are understandable and believable to the people listening. that's where I would want to focus. Is let's focus in on who's the people who are actually paying and why it's a problem for them and a pain point for them.
Okay.
So that was
Melanie,
kind of on.
Before you go to your second point, can we, because I've obviously comments about the problem too. Sara, why are they actually buying this?
I think because they are in Canada, they have all of the airports had to submit accessibility plans due to a recent like law that came in that basically said by 2040 all public spaces will be accessible and have to address, you know, these types of barriers. And they have laid out, you know, will present information in both audio and visual formats.
Okay, so that's got to be in the first minute of your presentation.
Okay.
Yeah, and we want to position you at like the front end of this rising tide of change that is ideally not just in Canada. If there's a way we can capture the bigger market of that there's going to be more spaces that you can play into. I think that is the main question, like why are they paying for it?
Okay.
But also your answer brings me to another piece that was my third comment. I want you to watch back this recording and get a transcript and scratch out every time you say, we think, I think, we plan, I want to talk about, and we'd like to. I don't want any of that language in your pitch.
Okay.
And we can work on that together. There's no we thinks, there's this is what we're doing, this is what we know, this is what we proved out. And it just, every time you said we think, which you'll see you say a lot, it took away from your credibility every time. We just don't believe the next words that come out of your mouth as much as we could. So from like that delivery perspective, every time I was like, no. So I want you to go back and watch this and just scrub it out.
And on that language, it's not just about saying, the think is bad, and also saying we is bad. Because what I want to hear is customers, airports, the end users, these people that we have spoken to, we have validated this problem thoroughly. We know that they need to do this by law. Yeah. You got to pull all of that, and it's basically, you've got to see that there are people with a lot of money out there that are begging for this solution, that they're pulling you into their business, that you don't have to push it.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. And so by not only it's scrapping both the think part, because that's hypothetical, theoretical, and the we part, that's just Sara's opinion or your team Metcove's opinion.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that brings me to the other one, which is what I call like the hidden wins, your milestone slide, which captures everything Nolan's kind of speaking to. Like that's your milestone slide. You know how much I don't like attraction slide. And I know milestone slide's a bit different, but to me, everything on your milestone, that's your momentum mark. That's your pitch, but elongated throughout, like all that's peppered in. Like you could bring in as a customer story with someone you've actually worked with, which would immediately tell us, oh, they have the technology, which I did assume that was one proof point I got from the front. But like they have the technology, there are people who are the government's invested in it because they've done the non-dilutive funding route. They have a pilot set up, or they're working with CETA, or what are those, those pieces I want that really brought up, so we understand this is something that people with those big deep pockets are validating. Yes, this is something real, and that we trust you and your team and your plan to execute on it. You could do that from the beginning with one of those customer stories. So certainly I want to take your milestone slide and turn that into your pitch, essentially, or a lot of your pitch, because it had a lot of those elements that would get in that past, present, and future. But it was your second to last slide, and then you're like, okay, that's the past. Let's look at the future. We want to get through those proof points. We want to get that past credibility, those present proof points, and the big bold future way before the second to last slide. And then team was my other one, because you said on the last thing, we have the right team. And I was like, what team? What do you mean? Tell me who you are. So that the why you, why this, why now, you said out loud, we have those three things, but we need to see that. So I think you've got all the pieces. It's just like, moving around the narrative and pulling up a lot of the second to last and last slide up throughout.
Okay, thanks.
We'll just I like going
go ahead,
through,
Nolan.
Like, can you click back to the beginning, because I just like going, I do my notes in chronologically, or
like this.
Yeah. So, okay, so on the opener, I
Yeah,
think it is very good. I always like when there's like a general audience play of like, hey, imagine last time you were in an airport and like you heard and I would literally, honestly, it, play it on the microphone or like play an audio recording of a jumbled like that will hit. People will relate to that immediately. And then
yeah,
you can go like, now imagine if you're hard of hearing or if you are like that's annoying for people. It's annoying. It's not the end of the world. It's annoying, right? Or your
yeah,
gate change or this thing or whatever, right? And then bring it to the layer of accessibility. And then I think you can say, well, like, and actually airports are now needing to do that, right? Then bring in the legislative tailwind of like, this is a problem that isn't just inconvenient anymore or an accessibility thing. This is something that needs to be fixed yesterday, right?
yeah.
So you kind of pull it in that way, and then and then later, hopefully, when the product is a little more evolved, you play that messy version, and then you can play the clean version. You can show, like, you can show,
Yeah.
not tell, what the product will look like. But my question too was like, okay, you're saying it's like there's a legislative reason. Is there a financial outcome here? Is it like missed flights, misconnection? Who's on the hook for that? Is it anxiety, or do they have more customer service people? Is it a pain? Like, is there some kind of financial impact to the airport or to the airline? Maybe it is more of an airline issue than an airport issue, and that's kind of the challenge here. Because you didn't talk about dollars until like your 10th slide, until the
Okay.
business model kind of dripped in. Like, this is the business pitch. You are pitching for money. We need to show me the money.
Okay.
Why are people pulling out their wallets? And legislative tailwind is a good one. Financial fee, and it's like, if you say how much are they going to get penalized if they don't do this, right? And even like if there's an example of an airport who got penalized for it, even better. Hit me with that. Like, what are they scared of? Why are they going to pay? Tell me that. All of that has to be in the first minute of your presentation.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, then let's go next slide. Again, I think you described it like pretty well, but it's just, yeah, it just kind of hit from this is a general thing that's annoying to imagine these people to it's a real problem for airports because they're going to get like screwed over if they don't fix this soon.
Okay.
Then you present your solution. This was a little too feature heavy for me. I don't really care how it's done. Most people don't care how it's done. If someone cares about how it's done, they're going to ask a question, and then you're going to have a great appendix slide with all the answers because you clearly know how it's done.
Yeah.
Right. Just get right to the point of like, this is what we do. And as much as like that, you can show the product, if you can show what the text message translated into the new languages or the sign language thing,
Sure.
even if it's kind of a mocked up demo, hit me with that.
Okay.
Okay, next slide. Yeah, so this is to Victoria's point. This needs to be later. This is
Sure.
a future problem. My question actually was on this slide I wrote down, why is the initial focus on airports, which you do answer later,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
But that's where I came of like, oh, I didn't think of it broadly. Yes, I get the problem with the airports, and your answers can be, well, there's more legislation for airports. There's more like we have a better network there. There's clear it's a great use case for multi-language, or you have a lower hanging, or like there's a automated the way you integrate, or like I don't know. I don't actually know why your answer was a little bit vague when you actually did answer it, but this just belongs a little bit later.
Sure.
Or actually a fair bit later, because this is like, imagine how big this can be, right? This is the hypothetical future looking. This is a very future looking slide. It's not a past or present. And I like what Melanie said. I'm a big fan of this kind of like, half the slide is past, or a third of the deck is the past, a third of the deck is kind of the present where you are today, and a third of the deck is the future, and you kind of follow that arc. So this is a future slide.
Yeah. Fair.
I have, this is not pitch advice, this is business, but I really disagree with having a user subscription. To me, that I think as a consumer, I'm not going to pay for this. Victoria as well, like and I'm probably travel less than Victoria does. If she's not going to pay for it, or like I kind of don't get from that perspective. And I don't like when you do the math of like, oh, there's so many people. Imagine if we only get this, it's like adds a certain amount of I don't like the way that didn't provide a very compelling argument.
Got
If
it.
this is
Yeah.
a problem for the venues, they're going to pay for it. if it's an accessibility thing and a right to being accessible, if that's the angle you're going on, by making people pay for it, to me that kind
Yeah,
of counteracts the
I struggle with
accessibility
that
element.
because we're not planning to make people pay for the accessibility portion. That is like,
So then that's the
Yeah.
other like nature and challenge of a freemium product. What bonus feature? Like I can't think of a single extra feature
yeah,
that I would have. And like there are great freemium products out there. Like I'm a big Strava user, and I'm tempted to pay for the extra features because they
Sure.
have all this other cool stuff, but I have the basic functionality kind of underneath it. This one I can't picture I can't picture how this is going to work.
Okay.
And your argument has to be compelling enough that the venues are going to pay us a ton of money because they need to, and that's it. And then you're going to be like, oh, well, there's not that many airports, and you're like, well, psych. There's actually just the hospitals need to do it. These places need to do it. These places need to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, and then my next question was like, why do airports care? Initial focus, you kind of did answer this. Yeah, again, like show me the money. Show me what is an administrative penalty? Is it $10,000? Like that's a rounding error for an airport, right? Is it $1 million? Then they'll care, right? And that will also define your pricing, right? What do you pay to avoid a penalty, right? If there's $1 million penalty, they'll probably pay you $100,000 a year to make sure they're not having to pay that penalty, right?
Okay.
And then this also too, like the targeting airports of 1 million passengers, that kind of fits somewhere else in the deck around like you go to market, and like that's valuable information. It's good to understand, and maybe why 1 million like, and those services like that's clear cut off of like a certain size. And is that because the penalties are higher? Is that because they're going to pay you more? Is that because you have a network in there? Or is it easier just to get small airports because there'll be quicker wins and less administration and stuff like that? So that left me with kind of more questions than answers a little bit.
Okay.
And then competition was okay, but again, it was a little bit in line with where like competition is to me. That's when you're going past, present, future. This is marriage of present slide. It does belong kind of in the middle of the deck because that's the current state of the market. What are they using? How are they solving the problem currently? And it seems like honestly they're not really solving the problem because it wasn't a problem 2 years ago. And I think that's an okay way to say like this is the opportunities now. They're not really solving this problem. This is only a brand new problem from legislation. And if you can name the legislation, give me a date of when it started, show that you're kind of an expert on that really positions it nicely. And then, yes, I think as Melanie said, so this slide there's two things. You're talking about the past, then you tease about the future, but then your next slide is about the future. So if you're talking about what you've done so far, I would obviously take out the Q1 2026 and even Q4, like, because that's looking ahead. And this element of like, I made a comment middle of slide, like traction is like, you haven't talked about what you've done. And it's a lot of this, the we think, I think, and I need to hear what your customers are saying, because the longer you don't talk about what they're saying, your credibility decreases. It becomes just Sarah's ideas of what will work here. I need to hear why they're willing to buy. You've clearly spoken with these people and through these programs. Give me a quote from them. Why are they excited about your product? This will solve X problem for us. This will and hopefully you have relationships where you can email and be like, hey, we're trying to just build a pitch deck. Here's a quote. Do you approve? And we'll put your name on it. Right.
Okay.
To show that you engage with real individuals at that level who would be kind of actual buyers of the product. Talk about the team page, and yeah, and it like even the wrap up, it wasn't clear of like, this is what we want, this is where we're going, right? Usually it's like you do the milestones, you do the team, and then what you were saying is like that final line, you kind of had a final blurb. That should just be a bit of a wrap up slide of like why, like summarizing everything, why now, why us, and either you're asking for investment or you've got some kind of other ask at the end.
Okay, I don't think I understand quite about the last, like.
Well, it depends what the pitch is and what you're like. If this is an investor pitch, you should be asking for money.
Yeah.
Or when you're going to be raising money or something like that. right?
Yeah.
If it's a general audience slide where it's still an ask of like, hey, if you know anyone at working airport or hospitals, we'd love to connect and share our thing. Like there's got to just be, it's not like, and this is the end. That's it. We did it. Like you're doing this for a reason, and reframe what that reason is.
Okay.
Or like even just writing like any questions, right? Like something like that, even like if it's a little bit more, right? And then if you've got a appendix slide. So that's it for me.
Okay.
Okay, that's a lot to take in at once. I know it's a first pitch. It's a lot all at one time. We have the recording for you. All of this is recorded as well, all of the feedback. I just want to emphasize, Sarah, you did a great job. Clearly by key milestones and how quickly you've all been moving. This is a lot to put together in a short period of time, and through the She Boot program, it's very demanding through boot camp. So just fantastic, and I'm so excited to see where the deck goes and see Melanie nodding. She's probably like, book a session with me. I want to get involved. So yeah, just want to thank you so much, and it was really exciting to see. And Victoria, you went off mute. I don't know if you wanted to add anything else.
Yeah. Just a question. So are we, there will be separate sessions or training on how do we make the deck look nicer, right? We don't need to comment on those parts?
No, yeah, exactly. So on October 2nd, we have a session. Melanie's joining us again. And in addition to Melanie, we have Madison, who is a graphic designer. So later in the program, after our founders have refined their deck, really built their flow and the content that they're delivering through their pitch, we bring that in midway through the program, just so there's not too much editing beyond that, or not to the same extent, so our graphic designer can work with them to actually build out a visual deck for them. Yeah, our technologists tend to really appreciate this. So I don't know if Sarah feels the same way, but there's definitely folks in the program that have already said, this is putting together a slide deck is my nightmare. So working with the graphic designer is very helpful. So we make sure that's a priority.
Yes, it is a very, very nice
added feature. Yeah. Someone actually doing it for you, not just giving you tips. So, okay. And with that, we've got an extra 15 minutes. I know Nolan, I think all three of you are joining us in various sessions throughout the day. So just want to say thanks. You may be with Jane. Just know that each session that you participate in is a different Zoom link. And so just remember to log in, not to log back into this one. And with that, I'll let everybody go. Sarah, if you want to stick around just for a quick sec.
Sure.
That'd be great.
Thanks, guys. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Nice to meet you. Bye.
Awesome. You can stop sharing your slides too.
Oh, yeah.
I'll stop recording.